The flashing blue and red lights painted the night in cold colors. Tires screeched against asphalt as a black SUV slowed to the shoulder of a quiet Georgia highway. The driver, a black woman in her mid-40s, placed both hands firmly on the steering wheel, her breathing steady but her chest tightening with a familiar weight. She had faced cartel leaders, undercover stings gone wrong, and dangerous international missions. Yet, this roadside stop felt heavier than any of them. Her name was Danielle Brooks, and though her appearance suggested a poised executive on a late-night drive, her reality was far more powerful. She was the director of the Drug Enforcement Administration. A woman who had clawed her way to the top through decades of grueling work, endless doubt, and relentless prejudice. And now, she was about to face a moment that would test not just her patience but her identity as a leader, a black woman, and a fighter for justice. The officer approached slowly, one hand resting on his holster, his flashlight beam cutting into her window. Danielle rolled it down, offering the same calm composure she had used in hundreds of interrogations. "Evening, officer. Is there a problem?" His eyes scanned her face with that sharp suspicion she had seen 1,000 times before, disguised as routine procedure. "License and registration." His voice was clipped, cold. She complied without hesitation. Her hands never dropped suddenly, every move measured. Years of conversations with her nephews and nieces about how to survive a police stop whispered in her head. When the officer walked back to his squad car, something shifted. Danielle noticed it, his hesitation, his whisper into the radio, the way his eyes darted nervously toward her vehicle. And then, without a word, he returned with a small plastic bag. A bag of white powder. Her gut clenched. He bent low, pretending to inspect her taillight. With a quick, practiced motion, he slid the bag into the back seat pocket. Danielle's jaw tightened. She had seen this tactic before. She had fought against corrupted local cops in border towns, taking bribes from cartels and planting evidence to protect their criminal allies. But never did she think she'd face it here, in her own country, in such a personal way. The officer returned to her window, smugness curling his lips. "Step out of the vehicle." Danielle exhaled deeply. Not in fear, but in calculation. The challenge of injustice. She stepped out slowly, keeping her posture dignified. "Is there a reason, officer?" "Suspicion of narcotics possession." "I'll need to search your vehicle." Her voice remained calm, but steel edged her words. "Do you have a warrant?" His smirk deepened. "Probable cause." I saw what I needed. Her heart ached with a familiar frustration, the kind she had carried since childhood, watching her father wrongfully accused of shoplifting when she was just 10 years old. She remembered the humiliation, the fear in her mother's eyes, the injustice that sparked her lifelong mission to fight back. And now, decades later, standing in the night's chill with an officer who thought he could destroy her with a single lie, Danielle felt that old wound flare. But she wasn't that little girl anymore. She was the DEA director. The unmasking. As the officer reached to search her car, Danielle pulled her phone from her jacket pocket. She pressed record. "Officer," she said clearly, her voice steady. "I am informing you that you are being recorded. I want you to repeat your statement for the record. You claim you saw narcotics in my vehicle?" His face stiffened. "Ma'am, put that phone away." "I will not." Her words cut through the night like a blade. "Do you know who I am?" He scoffed, still confident in his power. "Doesn't matter. You're about to spend the night in jail." And that was when she reached into her wallet, pulled out her federal badge, and held it up to the glare of his flashlight. The officer's eyes widened, his arrogance cracking instantly. The golden shield reflected back at him, DEA director. Silence swallowed the highway. Danielle leaned closer, her voice low but laced with fire. "You just planted evidence in the car of the highest-ranking drug enforcement officer in this nation. Do you understand the gravity of what you've done? The turning point." The officer stumbled back, words failing him. His arrogance drained into panic. I don't know what you're talking about." Danielle cut him off. "Save it. I've seen this game too many times. And tonight, you picked the wrong target. She dialed a number on her phone. Within minutes, the hum of black SUVs filled the air. Federal agents, her agents, stepped out, their presence commanding the night. The officer's face turned ghostly pale. Danielle's second-in-command approached. "Director Brooks, is everything all right?" Her nod was sharp. "Cuff him. Evidence tampering. Abuse of authority. Attempted false arrest." The officer sputtered, but his words drowned beneath the metallic click of handcuffs locking around his wrists. The larger battle. Back in her vehicle, Danielle sat in silence for a long moment, staring at the dark road ahead. She wasn't celebrating. Her victory tonight wasn't a victory at all, it was a reminder. A reminder that countless others didn't have her badge, her title, or her power. A reminder that for every corrupt cop exposed, dozens more hid behind the shield, unchecked. Her thoughts drifted to young black women across the country, who might face the same stop but without the protection she had. What would have happened if she wasn't the DEA director? If she hadn't had proof? If she was just Danielle Brooks, an ordinary citizen? The answer weighed on her chest like a stone. This was bigger than her. Resolution and message. Weeks later, the officer's trial began. Danielle stood firm in the courtroom, her testimony unwavering. News outlets across the country covered the story of the DEA director versus corrupt officer. It became a spark for national debate, igniting conversations about accountability, race, and systemic corruption. But for Danielle, it wasn't about the headlines. It was about the people who watched her fight back and realized they weren't powerless. In a speech later broadcast nationwide, she said, "I am not just the DEA director. I am a black woman, a mother, a daughter, and an American who knows what injustice feels like. My story had protection. Many do not. That must change. Tonight, I ask you not just to remember my story, but to use it. Speak up. Demand accountability. And never allow anyone to steal your dignity with lies." Her words rang like a bell, echoing across households, campuses, and streets. And though the road ahead was long, her story planted seeds of courage, reminding people everywhere, justice is worth fighting for, no matter the cost. Call to action for your channel. If this story moved you, I want to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What would you have done in Danielle's place? Have you ever witnessed injustice like this? And if you believe in stories that inspire strength, justice, and hope, make sure to subscribe to my channel, be kind always, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story. Because together, by sharing and speaking up, we can make kindness and justice louder than hate.